MSI Semifinal Game 4, Faker against Caps, SKT against G2. This is mostly macro oriented, so you will be learning the strategy and fundamentals behind playing mid lane. I'm rank 20 EU and I will be explaining everything they are doing as long as I understand it, because, you know, they are quite high level mid laners and I'm still learning from them myself. So it's Ryze against Sylas. It's a pretty interesting matchup because both have clear win conditions. I would say that Sylas wins early in terms of small fights and skirmishes, and Ryze does definitely outscale Sylas on about 2 items on the side lane, maybe even 1, but 2. If both are even in items and EXP, experience I mean, levels, they will fight and Ryze will definitely come out on top. So first we always analyze the matchup itself, which we just did, and then we put the junglers into consideration. So Faker goes for a bit of poke here, so they can secure vision, and the crystal that Skarner's passive brings maybe recalls to make sure that he has full mana, absolutely has the time. So it is a Rek'Sai against Skarner. Now Skarner is a level 6 jungler. That means that he needs to power farm about 3 full clears. That means the entire jungle about 3 times before he hits level 6, and then he has strong ganks, while Rek'Sai does strong ganks from level 3 and onwards. So I believe that SKT definitely have the advantage before level 6 in terms of mid jungle. So let's see how they are going to play it out. Goes into the lane, is in fog of war, so Caps doesn't know what he's doing. Both mid laners just decide to do nothing right now. I believe Caps will hit 1 minion, or maybe he will use his E to kill all 3 minions at the same time. And Faker does the same thing, so completely even trade. But now Sylas's E is much longer cooldown, it's 18 seconds cooldown, while Ryze's is not even 5 seconds. So he will have to respect that a little bit until it comes back up. Now because it's a melee against a ranged champion, usually the ranged champion can decide the first minion wave. And if you can decide the first minion wave, that means that you can decide the first 3 minion waves. Because if you push the wave in a way, what Caps is doing, he will get level 2 first, right? Because if he wants to, and he is strong level 1, he can build it so. And usually, if you are level 2, you will always beat a level 1 champion. So Faker is again in fog, since he knows he wouldn't be doing anything else in the lane anyways. Picks up all the CS with his Q, last hits with his E, and what right now Caps is doing is a slow push. I don't really agree with that right now, because as I said, he is very easy to gank since it's Ryze against a Rek'Sai and Sylas, and he's just exposing himself, and there's no way that Skarner is going to help him. So I think he should be freezing his lane and waiting for his strong point of the game. See? And this is the problem, and this is why I believe Caps did mistake. I don't know 100% sure, but look at it. Let's rewind and talk a little bit more about what is happening right now. So as we analyzed the jungle matchup before, we said that Rek'Sai, I'm sorry about this, Rek'Sai does have the jungle priority, and they are SKT are stronger than G2 in a 2v2. If Caps has his minion wave in poor position where he can't last it and can get zoned by Klid, Jankos can't come help him. Because if Skarner comes right now, he will go away from his win condition, which is power farm to level 6, and they still lose a 2v2. So Caps is just losing farm here for no real reason, because he was pushing the earlier minion waves. So he lost few minions and exposed himself to risk. That's what I think, but maybe it's not necessarily true. But you know, the results speak for themselves, right? Caps is losing minions now, he's losing XP and still is getting zoned by Klid. And really, he's not getting any advantage from it. Klid is not really wasting any time here. Just a little bit, but it really doesn't matter, because he was getting experience from the mid lane. And now Caps will be safe, and this is how he should have his minion wave throughout the laning phase, this safe. You see how more active the mid jungle of SKT are right now. It's just as I said, their matchup allows it. Now Faker is slow pushing himself, and slow push always results in really big minion waves. And that means that you have a lot of priority, a lot of time to do something. Reset, put vision, or roam. So you saw how he put his camera immediately when something was happening top lane. Kites out, caps a little bit, goes in for a trade here. Now has no cooldowns, is just juking out to make sure that caps is not hitting his spells. And this is the thing with Ryze, he goes really early in the game, and that's why he just cannot deal with the likes of Sylas at this stage of the game. But by every minute, the scales tip more into Caps' favor. So yeah, this is exactly almost the way Caps would like to have this wave. Why? Because he is safe from the minion ganks, and Khan just gets return ganked. Victor is just such an easy kill. And you see Khan is doing the same thing as Caps. He just had his minion wave in the wrong position when Rek'Sai is far away and there's no way he can help. So wave management issues overall. Ariankos is just running around to guarantee that Caps can get the push out. Faker will still be able to get all these minions very easily. You see how much wave clear power Sylas has in the early game. Let's go ahead a bit. There's not many interesting thing happening right now. Caps is just TPing, but Faker is gonna pick it up with his Q and goes for a reset himself. Right now what he's doing, he's just timing the Cap Summoner spell. So he would write into a chat, mid lane 10-0-0. And now there's a fight around Ocean. He kites out to be safe from the attacks of a dragon. He can always E out like this, but SKT are just not in formation. Doesn't look like a good fight for them. And they give the objective up because I believe Gnar TP'd into the fight. And that just means that the fight is over. With the Ocean Drake for the enemy team, it will be much harder for Sylas to poke out the Ryze. Just standing here stealing the Gnar ulti, doing a little bit of poke, but it feels more as a waste of resources. Nice combo from the Ryze. I believe that Ryze flash is more valuable than the Sylas flash because he is more reliant on it, and Sylas already has mobility on his own. So I would say it was a good trade. They also had to burn the Ryze ulti. Not the biggest of deals, but still, I'd say not a good trade for G2. So Faker has no flash now and knows that his jungler is going far away to farm Krugs, which, you know, usually you can play aggressive around the pressure. But if your jungler is so far away, in Krugs it's about 15 seconds from Krugs to mid lane, you can't play that aggressive most of the time. Again, depends on your matchup or if you have vision on the enemy jungler. But imagine Klid was on Raptors, then it takes about 5 seconds to get help and it's completely a different story. Now Caps has no flash and he has to overextend this deep. I would expect that SKT coordinate the gank here and Caps is just desperately trying to push this out. And Faker is having none of that. They're trying to force here. Again, 3v3 in the mid lane. Mid lane is such an important role that throughout MSI you just see everyone going there. Because usually the team that loses control over mid lane loses everything. Mid lane vision and pressure that then bleeds into the side waves. He just uses the Gnar ulti because it would time out anyways and he can get the push a little faster. Goes for a reset. Unless Caps just cancels him right now. Goes for the plant to regen his health and mana so he can continue laning. But because of that, Mata is getting caught and dies. So this is completely Faker's fault. He was disrespecting a recall. Then Mata had to cover him for the plant and gives up his life for that. Otherwise, Faker would probably die. So, not a small mistake. Sometimes it's just better to recall safely under your tower. Otherwise, things like this can happen if you get too greedy. Now, he knows where the ward is, just pings it out. Continues to farm, trading farm with Caps. And remember, right now, Caps is feeling pretty good because he knows that he does indeed outscale the Sylas and he also has the Ocean Drake. So Faker knows that with the amount of mana he has right now, there's just no way he can win the lane. The best he can hope for is maybe get a blue buff to stabilize and start winning again, or just pick up the farm. But until then, expect Ryze to have priority and Faker to play more defensively, more reactively, because he can't really dictate the lane at this moment. Ryze again gets the mid lane priority and goes into Fog of War, which is called fogging, as I explained many times before. If you don't think you can really poke out your enemy or get plates, it's so good to go into Fog of War, and you can fake roam. For example, it has same pressure as really roaming and going into the lane, because the enemies don't know if you're coming and they will spam ping and they have to respect you while you're just chilling in Fog of War in the mid lane brush. So playing with the enemy's mind. In the end, he had to recall because he knows that he was in a lose-lose situation. He just opts to lose one minion wave to have a chance to fight. Now again, when Caps comes from base, this is the beautiful arrow from Teddy, and they just collapse on perks here. Faker makes sure that he can assist if there's needed and still gets all the minions. So he pushes this out. Let's see what he's gonna do. Gets rooted by Caps and eats a full combo. That's pretty devastating, and you can see how much worse this matchup is becoming for Faker. And the Ocean Drake is just not making it any easier. So G2 have top lane priority, mid lane priority, and they will use that to start the Rift Herald. Usually if you have two prios, it means that you get either Dragon or the Rift Herald. So top lane, mid lane prio, Herald. Mid lane, bot lane, prio, Dragon. That's pretty much how it works. G2 are in a big lead right now. They got both the Dragon, they do outscale, and they also got the Rift Herald. So let's see how Faker and SKT will play this out to defend, and how G2 are going to try to use the Herald. They are rotating Wunder into the mid lane, and this is something I noticed G2 do a lot. Beautiful save from Tam Kench. Very annoying to play Skarner against Tam. They are just getting collapsed on, but there's no way because Gnar is actually here. Oh, and they collapse on the Skarner, lose the fight, and Faker goes down as well. There's no way he would survive that. That was a very strange fight from SKT, considering that their top laner is weaker and Wunder was able to come down without having to burn his TP. G2 knew there was the fight coming and he just came. Victor is very weak at this stage of the game, and they also didn't have the vision advantage. Faker was also slightly losing in the mid lane. Caps making sure that he gets all the minions, pushing the entire wave before basing, guarantees that you lose the least amount of minions possible. Faker opts to TP, doesn't want to lose this big of a minion wave, completely understandable. Now he should get priority for this wave because Caps is in base. So let's see what he is going to do with his priority. It's so much about how the player plays the map nowadays, not so much about mechanics. You don't see insane mechanical outplays and trades right now, even when you have Faker against Caps, right? So walks back into mid lane. He just went to clear vision, and that's the smallest thing you can do, and very good thing to do, of course. Prio, and then you decide, do you roam, do you clear vision, do you set up vision? And usually working vision is the first objective that comes to mind because it sets you up for future plays and denies the enemy plays. So priority into vision is pretty standard. 3-man dive into top lane. Caps is TPing immediately to call that off, and SKT are pretty happy with that, besides the fact that they are getting collapsed on by G2. Wunder flashes, and beautiful flash from Klid. He knew what to expect there. They couldn't fight there because the enemy support had first rotation. They already saw Mata, I mean Mickey X, in the mid lane while this was happening, and they also didn't feel stronger. So that's why they had to escape. Very beautiful counterplay by G2. Walking back into the mid lane, he will get his priority. And as always, let's see what Faker is going to do with it this time. So he burned Caps' TP. He knows, he times it, and he knows that he is going to have priority in terms of TP. It will come faster, and maybe that's a small window they have to force some play. So right now, he's going into mid lane to pick up some farm. And it seems that they actually opt to send Victor into the mid lane against Caps, but I don't think that it changes anything. Victor will still get the priority. But it's just how close they were and who can get the farm faster. So if Faker didn't go bot lane, the farm would go to waste. I expect them to swap back now, perhaps. Faker uses his priority to go back into mid lane, and his team is just getting dove on between two towers because he has no TP, and Victor couldn't respond. He didn't have prio. G2 go for a very easy collapse of Ryze and Ryze ultimate and get the top lane tower plus a double kill. I don't think SKT are able to get this tower because the side lanes are bleeding, the waves are bad, and Wunder is rotating in the mid lane. Caps is coming from base as well. Fast forward, Faker again. You see, Faker got priority and then used it to do something. And League of Legends, game of priority. Can you get priority? And if you can, how do you use it? Now, he can't push much further because he feels weaker than Gnar at the moment. And he doesn't see him on the map, so goes for the blue buff instead of pushing the wave completely under the tower. Not optimal, but an optimal play that he can do right now with the information he has. Fast forward, now they have bot lane prio again. Faker moves into top lane to contest the Ryze, doesn't have priority. Now we went a little crazy, didn't we? Beautiful arrow, but Caps gets out with his realm warp, so they used 3 people to try to kill him. It goes for the ulti. Caps is just kiting it out and calls for a TP from Wunder as well. Faker steals the ulti from Caps to escape. That, as you can see, Ryze becomes really strong over time, and it's 2 items soon. That's when I predicted that at 2 items there's almost nothing that they can do to him. They might even need 3 people, and Clit is only level 9 while Caps is level 12. As in most of the games in this series, Faker is forced in the backside, not able to contest Caps and G2, so he has to reactively pick up the minion waves, and right now Caps is deciding the way the game goes, but he's still keeping up very high on CS, gets the crux to optimize his CS numbers, doesn't have to be top lane, and the big one is the most. So Caps showed Faker is still going to get the farm, isn't that afraid, but now I expect Caps again to get the wave priority, and there's just nothing that he can do because if he fights him, he loses, and there's probably someone waiting for him, the Skarner as well, so it would be a 2v2 that they lose again. I'm curious how SKT are going to break out of this struggle. They need some really good team fight because they are slowly and surely bleeding and getting outscaled at this moment. So there is a drag from Skarner, but a beautiful Tam Kench save once more. A lot of cooldowns were blown. Faker goes for a bit of poke here, steals the Gnar ultimate, goes for an insanely beautiful play. And this is why Aftershock Sylas, it gives you the ability to engage. You are not that strong in 1v1s as with Conqueror Sylas, but that was an absolutely beautiful play. So to Gnar ulti, eat in, flash, something like Azir, and then use the Gnar ultimate to knock everyone into his team. This is what I was talking about. This was finally a play worthy of someone of Faker's caliber, and let's see what he is going to do with it. I think that maybe if he had the Conqueror, he would be much more even with the Ryze in the side lane. However, he just opts to go for the Aftershock, and it's really, there's not the best rune, it's just players have different preferences. So if you see Caps, he goes usually for the Conqueror on the Sylas Faker goes for the aftershock, no matter the matchup really. Opts for the base here after a beautiful play. I believe that he is going to just buy an amplifying tome, and again, as the solo laner, you want to be in the side lane, and then depending on if you have TP or not, or what your team win condition is, you want to be either close or far away from the objective. So they are playing around, which is Baron, that's why he would be top lane, but again, they are desperate to hold on to the mid lane tower, and he doesn't push the top lane, so he walks down, making sure they can defend, but the wave in top lane is just not optimal, so he will have to return there. And all these kind of movement that are inefficient build up over time, because you're losing free minions here and there and here and there, and suddenly you see why you are 20 CS down, then 30 CS down. Khan gets caught out in the jungle, and SKT sees this opportunity to go for a beautiful engage, but Teddy still falls down. Faker drags in Caps, and they are able to pursue with Tamkinch ulti. Faker doesn't decide to take it actually, but gets onto the Skarner, slowed by the Ashe arrow. I believe now once you are hit by Ashe and you are no mobility champion, it's very difficult to escape. So beautiful fight from SKT. They saw that they have numbers advantage because two members were chasing Victor, and they forced a fight immediately. Looking for base. Now he will walk up into the top lane to pick up some farm, gets a stopwatch, and this is what Faker likes to do, and other players as well. If you have already your core items, it takes so long to build up for Rabadon's Death Cap or the Void Staff even, so going for the stopwatch just to be safe in your next team fight, even if you don't plan to build Zhonya. But Faker is planning to build Zhonya this game, I assume. It's pretty common item in Silas, but even if you don't, sometimes the value of winning a team fight because of it is so great that you delay your power spike willingly. Faker misses every single thing, and again, he didn't get to push as far as you'd like, but they just want to force G2 on the back foot. So that was a really nice engage. And they are going to chase G2 down that were split. Few members doing Baron, few members getting caught off. Caps gets them out with the ulti. But I believe the mid lane tower might drop now because they have the priority. And they might be able to hit the mid lane tower. Faker even tanks one hit. Pretty nice out of him. But he should have hit the tower too, so they would get it. No big deal, still good rotation from SKT. Now the next power spike, there's no really big next power spike anytime soon for Faker. So I don't think he will base unless he gets really low. Also has his TP. Now he gets the priority on this minion wave. He will push it all in with the Proto Belt, so maybe he's actually looking for a base. Or actually, is he going to get the Crux from Clid? Yes. And he buys the Fiendish Codex, I believe. Yes. So he's pretty close to the Zhonyas. I mean, 900 gold to spend is pretty good amount, so I was wrong about that one. Now he has TP, he has his flash up and almost level 16. That's the next breakthrough for Silas when he is able to steal an ulti every 20 seconds. There's a fight in the mid lane, he TPs immediately in a safe position. See how he can turn this fight. Grabs the Skarner ulti and pulls Skarner into the tower actually, but misplaces combo, doesn't Proto Belt early enough. I don't think, maybe he didn't have it on cooldown, I didn't check, but there is a chance that Skarner could have died. It wouldn't really change anything in this game because I don't think anything is gonna happen right now. Oh wow, G2 are actually going for a really crazy Baron here. Tamkinch even has his ulti, so I'm not sure how this one is going to work out. Victor going deep, Baron is actually taken by G2. That was a really bold move that worked. Gnar with beautiful flash ultimate, and SKT are just getting wiped out. Also, the Realm Warp is used to chase even further, and I think this looks like lights out for SKT. They'll bring in the minion wave, and with 30-second death timers, they should be able to break through the inhibitor. So let's fast forward a little bit to see what's gonna happen. Only one outer tower, but that's still fine. It's a Baron, a tower, and a couple of kills for G2. They had the mountain rig, so I understand why they did that. They have a lot of sustained damage from Ryze and Varus. Now Faker again has to be defensive. Decides to go into the bot lane because there's a huge minion wave. And now SKT have pretty good wave clear this time. Unlike in the last game, they have Victor, Ashe is pretty solid, and Sylas can throw few chains into the wave as well, so they have better stalling chances than last time. The thing is, they still get outscaled, and G2 have pretty strong split pusher in Ryze that nobody can deal with at this moment. So I still think that they need to go for a desperate engage. You know, if you outscale and you have a good wave clear, you can try to turtle out. But if you don't outscale and if you don't have that great wave clear, going for the engage before you lose your entire base is probably your best bet. So here's the Gnar ulti. That's perfect for the plan if they are trying to do that. But so far they have been able to hold on pretty well. You know, Victor is one of the OG wave clear mages, just W's, gravity fields, the minion wave stuns it, throws a laser in, and Ashe is able to clean that up. If you look at G2 composition, they don't really have strong poke, so they are not able to force G2 outside of the towers. So the way they would be breaking the base now is just split pushing and sinking the minion waves. That means the minion waves hit the towers at the same time in all 3 or 2 lanes, maybe top and bot. So SKT has to split to defend the base, and it's much harder to defend as 1 or 2 people against Baron powered minions. So as you can see, Khan is going to eat a rotation from Ryze here. Maybe goes a little deep, has the Zhonya's or the stopwatch to get out. Wunder goes pretty, but Faker uses a beautiful Gnar ulti here. Doesn't even have to use his stopwatch. Actually fails and doesn't use it at all. He didn't think that Ryze had his W, which is instant. Maybe he was waiting for an animation, but that's still 1 for 2 with Baron powered creeps in top and bot lane. I don't think this is the end of the game yet, but I would bet that 2 inhibs, you know, not end of the game right now, but eventually it's going to be, because 2 inhibs usually mean that the game is just over. So G2 opt in for a base again, and then I assume they just run it down, maybe Ryze in the side lane with his ulti. They are taking this dragon, really just a constellation prize. I don't know how good that dragon is, I just think it's a waste of time. They should be pushing out the minion waves as far as possible instead of Drake, so they can get maybe a 30 seconds more time to scale. But again, they don't really scale. So right now the top wave and bot wave will crash at the same time. G2 just have to push the mid lane minion wave into the tower at the right moment, and that will be a final push from G2. So either SKT will lose, or they will do 1 engage and lose as well, or make a comeback. So pretty annoying to clear all these minions, and they're not synced. And as I'm always saying, guys, you see how because of the waves didn't crash at the same time, SKT are able to just push it back really easily and then go into side lanes before going back into the mid lane. But imagine if G2 crashed it when both top and bot lane had to be dealt with, the effect would be much stronger. Just like right now, you know, the mid wave and the bot wave is crashing, but top wave not. So if top wave came as well, it would be so big for SKT. Faker goes in for a really deep engage, has the aftershock, so can tank. Victor is dealing a lot of damage. He steals Ryze ulti and doesn't decide. Okay, he decides to pursue, but they don't have a lot of time. They will have to defend. G2 eat more they could chew, or did they? No, I don't think Caps can outplay this. There's way too much CC from Silas and Victor, and the sustained damage of Ashe. So they get the desperate engage as I was talking about, and they can scale for a little bit longer. Now if they had Kaisa or something, I'd understand that they have chances, but I still don't think this changes much. They still lost a mid lane tower HP, it's quite low, it's half HP right now, and G2 can actually get the Baron, or are SKT going to take the Baron? So if they take the Baron, that's a big thing. It's really risky because it's a 4v4 and Wunder just deciding to keep hitting the base. Victor is back, but Ryze will also TP in, so it will be 2 against 1. However, Faker has hit a TP of his own, so I think this will be a successful defense. It's so funny when Silas gets the Skarner ulti and just drags the enemy team in. Okay, that's beautiful. They got the Baron, so right now they can keep farming, and I say they don't really scale better than G2, but they have won last 2 team fights, so, you know, maybe I'm wrong, and SKT can still come back. But remember, it's very hard to have only one Nexus tower that's almost dead already to come back against a Ryze, because you can always backdoor it and you can never leave your base. So if G2 wanted, they can force a stalemate right now until they get another Baron or the Elder Dragon, because the threat of Ryze coming in is way too high. So let's see how they are going to turtle it out. Faker has been stellar in team fights this game. The lane was just even-ish, and that's not necessarily his fault. He did some mistakes, but then G2 got the Ocean Drake, and you know, Ocean Drake is so OP in lane. Just free regen, it's very hard to deal with. So it's not really his fault, it's just a team thing. Now, they are actually deciding to keep pushing into the base, trying to end the game while G2 are splitting. So right now...
Anh Đức chửi thôi, cậu bảo vậy mà.
Sao ra, con đang làm vậy đâu? Đóng cửa cho con ra đi. So they decide to keep pushing, and maybe they can force onto Varus and end the game before G2 are able to win the base race. But again, it's against Ryze, so I'm not 100% sure. And the main wave is not very big, so the side lanes are bad for them. I don't think they are able to really push here. I think Caps could have actually kept pushing. And yes, he's doing that. And now Faker is going for engage. That is the absolute right play, because they force the numbers advantage 5 against 3. And now it was, if it works, we win. If it doesn't work, G2 are likely to win. Now they are desperately trying to run into the base to defend it. But no, this looks really grim. I don't think it's going to be saved. Tahm-Kench comes into the base. Beautiful ulti from Wunder, and game is just over. So that's the Ryze backdoor. This was a 1-3-1 composition against a teamfight composition. I hope you enjoyed the video and are just excited as I am for Game 5. So please subscribe and check out my site for coaching, and see you again next time.